This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses. There's one brand in the world that resonates most with me of all the guitar brands. It's Fender. I think they make probably, if I had to choose kind of one amp, it would probably be a Fender, something like a Pro Reverb, something like that, or a Deluxe Reverb. If I had to choose one guitar, it would be probably like a Fender Strat, or someone who has copied a Fender Strat, like a K-Line. So this video is not intended to be like sort of bashing Fender for stuff, because I think, like most of you, like it's Fender, right? It's like the guitar brand. There's two important guitar brands, right, in terms of legacy, Fender, Gibson, in the electric world. I think those are the kind of two monoliths. What's the monolith if there's two of them? Duolith. But I think something strange is happening, and it's kind of like the third, fourth time that it's happened in the last few years. Anyway, so Philip Sayce is now playing a PRS Silver Sky, and that to me feels like, yes, on the one hand PRS are doing something right, but on the other hand I feel like Fender must be doing something pretty spectacularly wrong, because I feel like there's a bunch of players out there that are playing other brand guitars that their natural first choice would have been Fender, but for whatever reason there's something happening where the Fender kind of artist team, marketing team, or whatever, are not doing what they needed to be doing to keep these people on board. Now, the highest profile person, obviously, in this realm is John Mayer. I think there was somewhat spectacular falling out with Fender. For whatever reason, they wouldn't do what John Mayer wanted specifically, and it looks to me like what John Mayer basically wanted was a Strat. So I can't imagine what it was that he was asking Fender that they said no to. But for many, many years, of course, John Mayer and the Strat kind of 1 and 2, right? Like those two things go together like boxers and violence. I don't know. And so it's strange. That was the first kind of thing where whatever happened with John Mayer, he went over to PRS and they came up with this thing which is basically made up of lots of new parts that had not been seen on guitars before. Like, if you look at PRS Silver Sky close up, like, it isn't actually like what would the word be? Like a facsimile. Is that a word? Difficult to say, of an actual Strat. Like, all of the key little bits are different, but if you kind of look at it side by side with the Strat, like, it's very obviously like that is the essence of where it came from. It's just a different headstock and got some birds on it and stuff like that. But like, it is based on a Stratocaster, right? So John Mayer, they lose him, and then after that, I feel like this is the right timeline. There's two other key players that I think should have been, if they were moving away from their, so they used to play boutique guitars. I think Mark Lettieri is one of them, and Josh Smith is another. And those are two players that, so Mark Lettieri, I can remember for like most of the things that really spoke to me in the playing that I think most of us really dig as well. And he's a player that is kind of got a pretty big profile, right? Most of it was playing on that baby blue, is it a Grosh Strat? I think it is. Which is like a boutique version of a Fender, right? You know, made by a smaller team and all that stuff. And if he was going to make a move to a larger company, to me, the most obvious one would have been Fender, right? If you're going to go to someone who's mass producing signature instruments, to me, Fender would have been a choice. I think he also got sent some stuff from Ibanez, because you could see him playing some Ibanez stuff around the same sort of time. And again, with Josh Smith, he's been playing a Telly for all of these years. Why is it that Ibanez were able to tempt him with a Telly-shaped thing, but a little bit tweaked? Basically, still, you know, like an Ibanez AZ Telly thing, Josh Smith Telly looks the same as the other ones, right? So it's like he's not making crazy demands about what the instrument should have been. So like an off-the-shelf sort of custom shop Josh Smith Telly could have been a thing as well, right? So I don't know what's happening here. So Philip Sayce is just the latest of these, where like it's like such an image. Anytime I think of Philip Sayce, it'd be that mother guitar, which I think Fender also, without his permission, copied, which is a thing that he did some Facebook stuff on. So maybe that's part of why they ended up falling out. And I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. Like it kind of tells me that A, there's something going on wrong there, but B, on the positive side, something that PRS are doing is working for these artists. And I don't think it's as simple as just like chucking people bag loads of money, because I don't know how much money you'd pay someone like Phil Sayce, or would you just send them free guitars? Like, obviously Mark Lettieri and John Mayer and people like that and Josh Smith would be getting royalties because it's a signature guitar with their name on it. But Philip Sayce playing John Mayer's signature presumably is not going to be getting any royalties or that sort of thing. So it more than that, you'd presume, must be just a factor of the PRS Silver Sky actually working pretty well for him. Like, you wouldn't say yes to playing a guitar that you weren't that enthused about. I don't think. I hope you wouldn't anyway. In the UK at the moment, like the All Singing All Dancing American Silver Sky, they get discounted a fair amount, and you can get them for sort of £1,700 to £1,900 fairly often. I do think they do occupy this space in the market, which is sort of a little bit empty, because like Fenders at that sort of price range, yes, you've got the American vintage stuff. Some of that is going to be like the one that I got sent by Fender, maybe a little bit heavy. That was getting towards £8. Spec on that was really nice. The pickup sounded amazing, and it was pretty well built. There were a couple of little flaws, but I feel like the Silver Sky PRS stuff, and David Beebe, buddy, has played a few of these and kind of, I think, sort of changed his mind on them a little bit. And I played one that I was really, really impressed with. And yeah, I just think at that price range, there isn't a ton of options. Like if you were to get a Fender Ultra or a Fender Modern, they're not really the same kind of thing as a Silver Sky, like a Silver Sky with that vintage radius. So for me, it's, yeah, kind of interesting to see, because if I was to get like a Fender custom shop type thing, those are like £3,500, right? That's the kind of money you're looking at to get something, you know, which is possibly, I think, going to be in some cases better than a Silver Sky, in some cases maybe not, but I think, yeah, there seems to be like a thing where the Fender USA, kind of the standard like Ultra or those elite things, I don't think are quite hitting it in terms of spec, and the Fender Avery 2s that I played, vintage reissue 2s, have not quite been, I don't think, up there with the PRS Silver Sky quality. Let me know if you've played a Silver Sky and you've had bad experiences or good experiences, or would you go with Fender? You could probably tell, like if I had to choose aesthetically, the Fender headstock, the Fender Strat, to me seems right. And in all of these cases with the players like Josh Smith, Mark Lettieri, John Mayer, Phil Sayce, I'm probably with a lot of you where I think it looks more right with a Strat. So it's just an odd thing. I feel like Fender are missing out. Do you care at all? Probably not. And probably some people are thinking I don't really care who plays what, but it is definitely the case that given that John Mayer went from playing a Strat to playing this other PRS instrument that went on to become kind of like the best-selling new guitar for a few years, like he definitely, these kind of switches around do have an influence. And you know, now you're getting other people playing that signature guitar live. I think Rob Harris from Jamiroquai plays one. Been some notable other folks that have played them. Leave them in the comments if you want to remind me. But now Philip Sayce, I think they're pretty legit consideration, particularly when you think in this price range, what else could you get? And if you've got ideas for that, drop them in the comments as well if you want. But do you think Fender missed the mark on that, Mark Lettieri? So it works, doesn't it? Oh, that preset I was using in the start there was the Eric Lead 2023 on Helix Native. If you want to jump into the Gumroad folder, you could grab that. Kind of just a really nice touch responsive thing. I'm on snapshot 3 of that, which is kind of like a Dumble edge of breakup thing.